पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of Sri Krishna and Lord Sri Ramakrishna, we are continuing to study the Bhagavadgita. Now we have completed the shloka number 18. Karmani akarmayah pashed akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manusheshu sayuktaha krishna karma kratu. Karmani, that karma, the actions belong to the body and mind. It doesn't belong to the Atman. So in that karma, one who sees the inaction of the Atman and one who sees akarmani, the cessation of the work, withdrawal from the work, that we call it as resting period, that also is a kind of action because it involves agencyship. So one who sees akarma, the inaction in action and action in inaction, such person is the buddhiman, he is the wise among the people. Sa buddhiman manusheshu and krishna karma kritu. Though he is engaged in all types of work, he is a real yogi, sayuktaha. The next shloka also we have touched upon. Yasya sarve samarambhaha. Such jnani, characteristic of the jnani is being spelt out in the succeeding shlokas. Because the characteristic of jnani are something to be practiced by those who are still on the path of the yoga. Arurukshoho munir yogam karma karana muchyate yogarudasya tasyaiva shamah karana muchyate, Lord says in the Gita. That becomes a practicing habit that we have to practice, that become natural for the adept in yoga. So the description given here is the characters we have to practice to be steadfast in the yoga. That is the reason why in the Gita in many places, in 2nd chapter you will find the description of Stita Prajna. In the 11th, 12th chapter you will find the description of the Bhakta, the devotee. And the 13th chapter you will find the description of a Jnani, the man of knowledge. And in the 14th chapter we find the description of Trigunatita, one who has transcended Triguna, the Sattva, Rajas and the Tamas. These are all descriptions very important to the sadhaka, because what we are aiming at suggests that status. That status is what we have to rise up to, and we have to do sadhana, or we have to emulate these qualities of the adept one. That is the idea. So some characteristics are told that we should adopt in our life also as far as possible. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha. So we have to understand the word samarambhaha. What has been undertaken is called the samarambha. So we commence a work, and we start a work, that is called Samarambaha. So all actions have a beginning. So all actions are undertaken by an agent, by a person. So these actions are called Samarambaha. Sarve Samarambaha. Survey means all kinds of action, whether they are secular or the religious or the spiritual. No action is omitted. All actions can be transformed into Karma Yoga. Yasya sarve samarambhaha varjitaha. Varjitaha means divide off. They are without. Without what? Kama and sankalpa. Kama means the desire, and the desires are the offshoot of the thoughts in our mind. And such thoughts or the resolutions are called the sankalpa. In another place, Krishna says, Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman. Desires have got an origin, they are the thoughts. So there are hundreds of things we see in the market, but one or two things attract us. The Sangha develops, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Upajayate. The Sangha or the attachment leads to thoughts in our mind. These are called the resolution. So we go on thinking about those objects. The thinking is the cause of the desire. Without thinking of the objects we have interacted with, we don't get the desire. We see hundreds of people, we see hundreds of things, we don't get desire for them. We don't develop liking for them. But only with regard to few things, we get liking or the desire. That is because of the attachment. Attachment leads to thinking about them. Those thoughts about some objects will lead to desire for them. The desire has got a cause. These are the thinking. The thoughts are called the sankalpa here. So in the action of a wise man who can see action in inaction, in inaction in action, that is the knowledge. And the knowledge of Atman. Knowledge of Atman is the knowledge of Adhyasa also. Adhyasa means seeing Atman as action, seeing Atman as something with action. That is Adhyasa. So action is superimposed on the Atman. Atman is not doing or engaging in any action, but we superimpose it. And that is understanding the superimposition, understanding the adhyasa is the real knowledge. The wise man also works, an ordinary man also works, but the wise man, the man of knowledge, doesn't have the attachment towards work. Since he has no attachment, so there will be no desire for the results of the work. So we all do work instigated by the results of the work. It is results that propel us to do work. But in the case of the jnani, there are no desires. And because why there are no desires? There are no thoughts pertaining to that. Since there is no sankalpa, there is no kama also. Why it is so? Jnana agni dagdha karmanam. All the actions are as if burnt away, burnt by the knowledge of knowledge. That is, Agni itself is knowledge. The fire of knowledge has burnt up all kinds of kama. So we have to understand the psychological significance of this term. So when we do desireful action, we actions with desire, and with attachment, every action will leave an impression in our mind. Those tendencies will rise to further actions. If we develop good tendencies, in future we do good action. If we develop a bad tendency in our mind due to our bad action, and we continue to do or we further tend to do the bad actions. So the bad actions leads to bad tendencies, further lead to bad actions. Good actions will leave good tendencies or the good impressions in our mind, further lead to good actions. So this is a kind of Visha Charka, it is a continuous process. As long as there is an avidya, avidya means thinking I am myself as body and mind, and Atman is an agent of the work, that is avidya. As long as then avidya is there, this karma theory, I am doing a good work, I will develop good tendency, that good tendency will further lead me to good action. These are all the products of the avidya. Avidya, kama, karma. Shankaracharya says, the ignorance leads to kama, desire, and desire leads to karma. So karma will leave the residual impressions in our mind, every action. So, but jnana, what is jnana? Removal of that idea that I am the agent of the work. I am not the agent, I am the Atman. Atman is actionless. That idea will remove all concepts of the wrongful action. What is wrongful action here is means thinking that I am the agent of the action. Here wrongful action doesn't mean a bad action, even a good action is a product of avidya. All kinds of actions are born out of the tendency that I am a doer. When the doership idea itself vanishes, that is called jnana agni dagdha karma. The karmas performed without that tendency of I and mind, because that ajnana, the knowledge, is completely annihilated by the knowledge of Atman. So once again, knowledge, we had to refer back to the previous shloka. Jnana means seeing inaction in action and action in inaction. So it is just opposite. It contrasts with the viewpoint of the ordinary people. Ordinary people sees Atman as an agent of action. The wise man sees Atman as something which is doesn't have contact with any kind of action. It is inactive. It remains same throughout. And also when there is an inaction in ordinary sense, Krishna or the wise man sees action there. So just the opposite idea. The commoner's viewpoint or their perspective is due to the ajnana or the ignorance, and the contrast idea, exactly opposite idea of that, is the real fact, the real knowledge, the real perceptive of the knowers of the Atman. That knowledge destroys all kinds of karma and its tendencies. Then actions will no longer be ordinary actions effectuated by kama and the sankalpa. Ordinary actions are effectuated or influenced by kama and sankalpa. Without sankalpa and kama, you cannot conceive of any actions in the ordinary plane. But in the case of jnanis, the wise man, the same actions he does without any kind of sankalpa or the kama, because all his ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge of Atman. Jnanagnihi dagda karmanam tam. He whose actions are all burnt up by the fire of the knowledge, him Bhudaha Panditam Ahuhu. Bhudaha, the knowers of the Brahman, the wise man, they say he is the Pandita, real man of knowledge. Panda Astya Isti Iti Pandita. Panda means Atmajnana. So Buddha means also Atmajnani. Pandita also means Atmajnani, the knower of Atman. Only the knowers of Atman can recognize another knower of the Atman. This is a very interesting aspect of the shloka. So the characteristics of the jnani is further elucidated in the next shloka. So we have learnt he is the sannyasi, true renunciator, one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction. And he does his karma only for the maintenance of the body. Absolutely, he doesn't have any desire whatsoever in his works. All his work is, according to the tradition, is only bhikshatana, the begging. Begging is the only work prescribed for the sannyasi. Sannyasi is not supposed to do any other work. But any other work it requires desire to gain something, to gain money, to live happily in this world. He doesn't want it, he doesn't require it because he is Atma Jnani. Only cause of his action, only intention of his action is Jivana Yatra, the maintenance of his body. So, his actions are not at all actions in the ordinary sense, because every action in this world is prompted by a desire to reap some result, money or something. But his actions are not caused by any kind of desire, just for the maintenance of the body. He has what is called a prarabdha karma. That is why he is continuing to live and doing something just for the maintenance of the body. What is prarabdha karma? There are three kinds of karma. One is the agami karma, what we are going to do in the future, and that is destroyed when one gets the knowledge. Because all actions, when ignorance is destroyed, all the products of the ignorance, all the effects of the ignorance are destroyed. So the agami karma, the future karmas that are in latent, that are in potential form in our tendencies are all destroyed. And of course the past actions are already done, and the tendencies of the past actions are also destroyed. What remains is those actions which have already started giving results. For example, our body. Our body is the results of some actions we have done in the previous birth. So the body will remain as long as that karma or the action exhausts. And that kind of action which are already already begun to give results is called the prarabdha karma. So only prarabdha karma is there. That's why he has to live as long as that prarabdha karma is over, just for the maintenance of his body, just for the keeping of his body intact, he is doing karma, and his karma is only for the maintenance of the body. He has absolutely no desire. So he doesn't find utility in any kind of karma. So we see utility in the karma. That is why we perform the karma as ordinary people. But the wise man doesn't find any utility because he is already a fulfilled man. In Sanskrit, that fulfillment is called a kruta krutyata. He is already fulfilled. He has attained what he has to attain. So every action is already rejected by him or given up by him. So even then, while living in the body, it is impossible not to do any karma. At least for the maintenance of the body, an action like begging has to be done. So that action is without detachment and without any kind of utility for the doer. And it is only for the loka sangrahartha. Apart from begging, apart from collecting food for his maintenance of his body, a sannyasi may engage in the actions that are beneficial or useful to the society. For example, Ramana Maharshi, though he is a realized person, continued to do work, continued to teach for the benefit of society. Sri Ramakrishna did not have any utility in his work. He did not see anything that is to be gained by him because he is already a fulfilled man. Still, he was doing work, karma kathor. He was doing the greatest work, very strenuous work. He was engaged in a very hard work. Vivekananda describes Sri Ramakrishna as such that. And that action is for the sake of other people. Loka Sangrahartam. Loka Sangraha is defined by Shankaracharya to make the people, prevent them, to make people deviate from doing wrongful actions. So, if they are not engaged in good action, they will do wrong action. They will do evil action. In order to prevent them from doing wrong actions, evil action, a man of realization has to set an example to them by following some good actions so that the people may follow him. That is the idea. So, loka sangrahartam purvavat karmani. Yes, he might have been engaged in some service activities before realization, and even after realization he would do the same, he would continue to do the same, but now it is only for the welfare of the world, it is for the benefit of the world, it is to set an example for others to follow, and that action can never be called an action in the strictest sense, because that action doesn't involve any desire, any kind of sankalpa, resolution, and there is no attachment is there. So, such a sannyasi described in the next shloka as Tyaktva karma phala sangat sangam nityatruptaha nirashrayaha karmani abhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Every word is a gem in this shloka. Karmasu abhimanam tektva. Karma phala sanga means, abhimana means attachment. So, every work done by a commoner like us is involved a kind of abhimana. Abhimana means identification. I am doing this work. It is my work. I will reap the results. I am the doer. This kind of identification with my work is called abhimana or the asakti or the sangha. So it is a wrongful concept. It is in ignorance. It is the sign of ignorance. Why it is so? It is so because Atman doesn't have any attachment with anything else. Atman is like a space. The space doesn't have attachment, or space doesn't have any identification with anything other than that. The space is a space. It is aloof from everything else. So the Atman. We are all of the nature of Atman, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta Swarupa. We are Shuddha, we are pure intelligence, pure consciousness. Buddha, we are of the nature of pure knowledge, and we are liberated, always liberated. Being such entities, we cannot identify with our actions at all, but still the attachment is there, abhimana is there. It is due to ignorance. So, such tendency, such asakti, such attachment, that identification with the karma as well as the results of the karma. When you give up the attachment towards the results of the karma, naturally you should have also given up the attachment towards the work also. Work is done mainly in the common context for the results of the work. So there is a saying in Sanskrit, Mandopi na pravartate, prayojanam anuddishya, Mandopi na pravartate. Without considering the benefit, even a dullard will not venture into any work. So whenever we take up a work, we always think what will be the result, what shall I gain from that, what is the benefit, without which we will not commence the work at all. That is the realm of the avidya, this attachment to work, attachment to result, attachment to work because we are attached to the result. Here, the wise man, the jnani, performs all his actions without any karma phala. Karma phala, phala sangam tektva, giving up the attachment towards the results of the work. And that is when you are not attached, when you are not hankering for anything, when you don't have any desire while doing work, you are always contented. Nitya truptaha. No expectation at all. Shankara beautifully explains Nitya truptaha as Nitya nirakanksha, akanksha. So whenever we work, we have some expectation. If an author writes a book, he wants that book to be read by hundreds of people, and he wants some appreciation, money, prestige, name and fame. And so the politicians and officials and every one of us expect something, always expecting. If we marry, we expect from our partner. If wife expects from husband, husband expects from wife. There is always expectancy. Every minute we expect. This expectancy is the cause of all the misery. Akanksha. So as Buddha beautifully puts it, desire is the source of the misery. Without desire, the man is self-contented. That contentment, real bliss, there is another source for that. What is the source? The Atman is the source. We are the source of our knowledge. We ourselves is the source of our bliss. So we need not search for the bliss outside of ourselves. We need not search for the contentment outside of ourselves. We can be self-contented in real term and real in its real meaning. Self means here Atman. So I am contented with Atman. Atma truptaha, Atma kamaha, Upanishad says. He has only desire in his own Atman, because Atman is already there, so he is kruta krutya. He is fulfilled. So Nitya Trupta actually means Atma Trupta. He is always contented. So we are not always contented. We may think sometimes we are contented. So if we are very thirsty, if we get water, 2 or 3 glasses of water, we think we are contented, enough of water. After some time we get hunger or the thirst again, and we want food, we want water. So this is not Nitya Truptata, the eternal or the constant contentment. Ever contentment will not come from the objects of the world. That ever contentment, always be contented with, this experience comes only when we are fulfilled, we are content with our own Atman. Atman is the source of all contentment. Atman is the source of the bliss. Atman is the source of the knowledge. So Nitya Truptaha, Nirashrayaha, it doesn't have any support of other than the Atman. Shankaracharya beautifully describes what is Ashraya. Ashrayo nama yad ashritya purushartam sishada ishati. So I want artha, I want money. So I had to hold something to earn money. I had to engage myself in a work. And that work becomes the support for me to achieve my goal, that is artha or the kama. So to fulfill our desire, to achieve a goal, we take the support of something else, and that something else is called a ashraya. In Upanishads, it's also called alambana. In upasana or meditation, we want to be united with the God or our chosen deity. We take up a ashraya or alambana. What is that alambana? Omkara, our mantra, is the alambana. Taking the support of the mantra, we want to be united with the Atman. That is the idea. So there are two words we have to understand in Sanskrit. One is the sadhya, another is the sadhana. Sadhana means the means and sadhya means the goal. Without sadhana, we cannot achieve the sadhya. Without the means, we cannot dream of achieving the goal. That support are the means which help us to achieve the goal is what is called ashraya here. Our man of realization of about which we are talking now has no ashraya in the external sense, because he doesn't want money, he doesn't take the help of any means through which one can get the money. He does not want any worldly prosperity, so he is not dependent upon any means of achieving that wealth or the prosperity. He does not want name and fame, so he doesn't take the help of any support or the means through which one can get the name and fame. So he doesn't want anything externally, because he is ever contented in the Atman. Atman itself becomes as I said repeatedly, Atman itself becomes the source of the solace for him. So he is nirashraya. He doesn't have any support, anything. He doesn't want anything to gain, anything to reach for, anything to achieve in this world as well as the other world. No, I don't want anything in this world, but I want heaven. He is not that of type. He doesn't want even heaven also. Higher heavens, though he doesn't want. He doesn't want any heavens, any place of pleasure, no kind of happiness, because he is already happy. He is already blissful in his Atman, nirashrayaha. So even though he has given up his attachment for the results of the work, he is always contented, and he is without any kind of support or the means to achieve something in this world. Still he is engaged in work. Karmani abhipravruttaha. Abhipravruttaha means he is engaged in his work. Even though he is engaged in this world, karmani abhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Naiva, he doesn't eva. He does not work at all. Eva means at all. No, he is engaged in his work, he does not work at all. So there is an irony, contradiction in these words. I am doing work, but I am not doing anything. Remember Lord's saying, I am doing work, but I am not doing any work. Krishna said, we have already read it in Bhagavadgita, because he doesn't have any attachment towards the results of the work. There are three kinds of attachment in the context of the work. One is the attachment that I am the doer, that is also a kind of attachment. Attachment to the results of the work and attachment to the work itself. That says, I am the doer. So, all three kinds of detachments are not there in him. So, though it looks as if for the outsider, so we do not know what is going on in his mind, what is his state of mind, what is the state of realization. As commoners, we cannot recognize it. That's why we think Sri Ramakrishna is working like us. Sri Ramana Maharshi is working like us. Swami Vivekananda is working like us. Or Sri Sharada Devi is working like us. So they are not doing any work of that sort. Still they are doing. Though they are still engaged in some kind of work, they don't have any attachment towards work. That is the state of inaction. Action in inaction or inaction in action, whatever you may say. Or it may say it in a more preferably, inaction in action. I am doing work, still I am in the state of inaction. Internally, I have no work, no attachment, no desire, still I continue to do the work. That is the state of men of realization. We also hope to achieve that. We have to start by making our desires make less and less, converting our actions into more selfless work, without attachment, without desire, without hankering, keeping our mind calm and quiet, no excitement, no anger, no joyful expression, keeping equanimity, practicing that, we can achieve this status, rise to this level of inaction as described by Bhagavadgita. And Krishna continues, Shari nirashihi yata chittatma tekta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kuruvan apnoti na apnoti kilbisham. So nirashihi, the crux of the matter is here, he is without any desires. One can ask, what prompts him to do work then? Nothing prompts him to do the work. Because his work, so-called work, apparent work, is not work at all. His begging is not work at all. It is just to maintain his body. And he may engage in some work. It is also a not work. It is only for the loka sangraha, or the welfare of all the people, to do good to the people. He has no self-interest in it. So that is what is called nirashihi. So Shankaracharya defines nirashihi as nirgata ashishaha yasmat iti nirashihi. All kinds of desires have been withdrawn or have destroyed. Let us examine the desires we have while doing the work that prompt us to do the work. This is ignorance that leads to desires, avidya leads to the kama, and desire leads to the karma. Because we feel incomplete. We are not complete. We are yet to achieve something. We are yet to get something to make ours full or complete. We are not purna. So feeling of inadequacy, a kind of lacuna we develop in our heart, in our mind, that makes us to constantly hoping for something better, something comfortable, something easier, something more happier. So we engage in the work, thinking that work will make us complete, work will make us fulfilled, work will make us blissful, Work will make us contented. So desires lead to the work in every action of ours. But his action, in the man of realization, there is absolutely no desire at all. Nirashihi. Why? He has controlled body and the mind fully. Yata chittatma. Yata means fully control. Having brought the body and mind fully controlled, he continues to work. That is the practice we have to learn from the man of realization. We should lessen our desires. We should try to make our mind free from desires as far as possible, and for that we should control our body and mind, but we should not stop working. We should continue to work. We should be jnana yogis in our mind, internally, and we should continue to work as karma yogis outwardly. That is the ideal of Bhagavad-gita. Nirashihi yata chittatma. Yata, control, chitta. Chitta means antakarana. Antakarana involves, or antakarana constitutes 4 functions. Antakarana performs 4 functions, and therefore 4 names are given to antakarana in the Vedantic tradition. If it deliberates pros and cons, that is called manas. If it decides something, that is called the buddhi. If it is also a storage of tendencies or the impressions of our action, that is called the chitta, mano, buddhi. And also it is also the source of I-ness. I am doing, I am working, I am eating. So every action is preceded by the notion that I am doing. So this mind is the source of that ego. It is not Atman. That I is not Atman. That is ego. So the I consciousness originates, springs from this mind. That function is called ahankara. So these are to be controlled. There is no other way. Yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. So one who has brought his mind and the body. Here Atma, interestingly, is body and the senses, the conglomeration or the combination of the body and the senses. Senses means the indriya, sense of hearing, sense of seeing, etc. That conglomeration is called here Atma. Chitta means the antakarana. The whole antakarana is called the chitta. So one who has controls. So what is the lesson for us? So we have to work controlling our mind and the body and the senses. All our actions will be a controlled actions. And also we should be free from the desires as far as possible while doing work. There is another quality enumerated here in this shloka. Takta sarva parigraha. One who has relinquished all kinds of possessions. Why I should relinquish it? Why I should not accumulate it? This is the question we pose. Why I am living then if I don't want any possessions, if I am giving up all possessions? If the living or the life is to accumulate, when you leave the body is the greatest possession we have given by God. Or you have amassed wealth, there is crores of rupees in the bank balance, and you have 10 scores of houses and cars, but unfortunately after some years you have to leave the body. Body is the greatest of parigraha. Parigraha means possession. Possession that we have, what we have accumulated is called the parigraha here. Even the body is something we have accumulated, we have to give up today or tomorrow at one point of time. Then what about other things? What about cars when I am gone? What about my houses when I am gone? What is about my wealth when I am gone? Nothing in reality belongs to me at all. That is why even before I had to leave them, let me give up the desire for them. That is the idea. Today or tomorrow I had to leave them, I had to give up the body. No wealth comes along with me, no cars come with me, nothing come with me, no relatives come with me. My only merits and demerits, dharma and adharma come with me. So it doesn't really, the car doesn't belong to me at all. The houses do not belong to me. What I like, what I possess as to be something my own, belongs to me, these do not really, do not belong to me. Because I had to leave them. I had to give up them. It is better to give up now itself. Takta sarva parigraha. One who has given up all the possessions. This is how we had to work, without detachment, without the sense of possession, without the sense of something belongs to me, this is mine, I and mine. So I and mine, these two words we have to understand. I means ahankara. When I identified with my body and mind, I think that belongs to my body to be my own. For example, the cloth is on the body, the cloth belongs to the body, cloth has a relationship with body, still I think it is my shirt or my cloth. Cloth has nothing to do with the Atma. Because I identified with the body, I think my shirt belongs to me. So identification with body is called ahankara, and the possessive attitude towards the cloth or the shirt is called the mamakara. I and mine. Give up that, give up that. That is the lesson we had to take while reading the shloka. Then such person, krutvapi na nibadhyate. Even though he is doing work, he will not be bound. That means with desires, with attachment, with discontent, we are attached and we are bound. Without attachment means free. Detachment is freedom. Knowledge is freedom. Desirelessness is freedom. And such person, I'm sorry, I have skipped here. Nirashir yata chittatma tekta sarva parigraha. Next line in the 21st sloka. Shariram kevalam karma kuruvan. This is very, very significant word. Shariram kevalam karma. He performs acts only physically. Mentally he is not at all attached. But Shankaracharya says he is doing his karma as a sannyasi only for the maintenance of the body. That's all. Prarabdha karma is there. As long as prarabdha karma is there, the body lasts. So it is my duty to maintain the body. Body needs some food, So I do some work. What work you do? I do begging. That is the attitude of a sannyasi. But in the larger context, translators like Swami Tapasyanandaji said, they do only physical karma. Physical means I am doing work, I have no attachment to work. I have no ahankar, identification. I have no desire for the results. I am a jnana yogi, still I continue to do the work. So it becomes only physical work. Though he is doing physical work, such person does not do anything and he does not incur any sin. Kuruvan apnoti na kilbisham. He does not, he will not be bound by anything. He will not incur any sin. Suppose he doesn't do work, he will not incur sin at all because he doesn't have any attachment at all. So, where there is a bondage, there is sin. There is an ignorance, there is a concept of merit and sin. When there is no bondage, when there is a sense of liberation, when one performs work with the realization, in the light of the realization, there is absolutely no sin occurs at that work because he is free from everything. So Shankaracharya says kilbisha here means both papa and the karma, punya. It doesn't mean only papa is the kilbisha or the filth involved or the contaminant. He doesn't be tainted by any contaminant. Contaminant includes papa and the punya. If we do wrongful actions, we incur sin or the papa. From the rightful actions, we get what is called merit. Both are binding factors to the fetters to the Atman. Both are the products of the avidya. Atman is neither sinful nor meritorious. Both are fetters. Both are just superimpositions on the Atman. So he will be free from that if he can do work with this attitude. A man of realization can do that. Shariram kevalam karma, he will be engaged in an action just for the maintenance of the body, or just he confine his work into physical work and he is not at all attached. Such person doesn't incur any sin or doesn't tainted with any contaminant of the work like the papa, punya, etc. So in the same vein, shloka number 22, Krishna says, Yadrucha labha santushtaha dvandvatitaha vimatsaraha samasiddhava siddhaucha krutvapi na nibadhyate. Satisfaction, it is something rare in our society today. I am satisfied. I am not satisfied in Delhi, so I come over to Bangalore to work. Bangalore also is not giving me any satisfaction. The man doesn't know that he will never be satisfied in any part of the world. Satisfaction is something internal, it is an intrinsic characteristic of a human being. He will not get satisfaction by living in Bangalore or Delhi or Bombay or elsewhere. Satisfaction is the inner experience of the Atman, contentment. Upanishad says, Atma truptaha, apta kamaha, atma ratihi, enjoying oneself with his own Atman. We think the interaction with the outside objects experiencing the outside objects is enjoyment. We get pleasure out of it. But the Upanishad says the real enjoyment lies in known Atman, understanding Atman, the knowledge of Atman. Atma ratihi, Atma trupti. The man of knowledge we are speaking of now, santushtaha, he is always happy. Krishna in other place says, santushtaha satatam yogi. Always he is blissful. Whatever may happen. Something terrible happens to me, still I am very happy. There is no trace of annoyance or misery in my mind or in the external demeanor. No, nothing. I am happy. Because as the other shloka we have already read suggested, he has got his support for his happiness only Atman, nothing else. If he depends upon anything else outside from the Atman for his happiness, he would remain miserable always, like we are doing, as we are doing now. We are miserable. We depend upon a cup of coffee in the early morning for our happiness. If we don't get, we will become miserable. So coffee cannot be the source of happiness. Atman is the source of happiness. Wealth cannot be the source of happiness. Atman is the source of happiness. Name and fame cannot be the source of happiness. Atman is the source of happiness. Santushtaha. Santushtaha for what? What makes him santushtaha? What makes him happy? Yadrucha, whatever he gets, unasked for. He does not want anything. He doesn't ask for anything. If he goes to a place for begging, he stands in front of someone's house and beg, Om Namo Narayanaya. Just he utters. Whatever the householder gives, he is happy with that. That is the true sign of a sannyasi. Yadrucha labha santush. Labha means gain. That is the gain. So there are many stories in Upanishad, the Purana and other Ramayana, Mahabharata. A beggar, monk, mendicant man goes to different houses. He will not get anything on that day. He is happy. That is what he gained. Whatever he comes to him, he is happy. Misery comes, he is happy. Pleasure comes, he is happy. So the happiness lies in Atman. And he has realized Atman, he is always happy. Yadrucha labha santushtaha. Satisfied with whatever comes without calculation or without asking for. Dvandva titaha. We have already learnt what is dvandva. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau. Sukha dukkha are dvandva. Jaya and apajaya, victory and defeat are dvandva. Labha, alabha, gaining something or losing something are dvandva. These are the dualities of life. We cannot escape from them. Whenever they come, we should remain steadfast and be happy, be contented. In fact, we have to transcend them. That is the meaning of this. What is meant by transcending? If you go to Mysore and stand upon the Chamundi hills, you will see the streets. The people look like puppets, small puppets. And you climb down from the hills, you will see the real figures of the people you will see the original source. That means you have transcended. So we have to transcend our miseries. Miseries will be there even for the realized soul. When you take up spiritual life, miseries continue. But we can transcend it. And we shall continue the discussion in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishnarpanamastu.